I make too many references nowadays and nobody has no clue what the heck I'm talking about. So I don't know what's being said. Anyway, so let's get down to it. Val, I'll throw it to you. Let's get started with Miss Tiff.
I think it's absolutely fabulous that you guys are a power couple and you take the time out to also be in Kiwanis. So we don't even have to expend any kind of time inviting you to join, because that's what sometimes we spend almost half our show going, you need to be a part of what we do.
Right. Already a part of that.
So who invited you? How did you get involved in Kiwanis, knowing that you're running this powerful business? I just got to know.
So the story of that is I met Aaron at the Chamber of Commerce meeting, and he introduced himself as the voice of 757 and a famous voiceover. And I'm like, okay. So I kind of said to my husband,
I fooled him again.
I said to my husband, I'm like, I'm going to step over there and talk to Aaron for a second. And he was like, okay. So I stuck over there. I'm like, so my name is Tiffany. I'm the owner of Comfort Care Home Care in Virginia Beach. So we've only been open. This was in June.
Yeah. A couple of months, barely, right?
Because
the new car smell was still in the office.
Absolutely. We opened in April. We opened the middle of April. And I was like, I says, I really think we might be able to benefit each other. You're new to the area. I can tell you some things to get around. I'm new to the business, but not so much nursing. I've been a nurse for 21 plus years.
But you're also born and raised in this area too.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. So I'm from here, born and raised, and know all the little hidden hole in the walls, water holes, spots, things to hang out. So I met in the office with him. We haven't stopped since then. And then I got a phone call from him on a Saturday evening. I was in my office with my dog trying to get some things together, and I get a text message that says, "Hey, call me ASAP."
Urgent.
And I kind of looked at my phone and I'm like, dude, you don't know well enough to be texting me, called me ASAP, right?
Right. It's like, who's bleeding right now?
Right. So I called him and he was like, hey, I have this situation and I need somebody here like now. So I literally was like, give me 30 minutes. I put my dog in the car. I went home, dropped her off, and I was there within 30 minutes. And fortunately, due to an unfortunate situation, that's how our relationship started. To this day, I mean, Eileen works for me. I consider them family. There's nothing I wouldn't do for them, as well as I know that it's kind of like those things that paths cross for a reason. And when it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And some people say they cross for a season. And to me, having the Cohens in my life and my husband's life is not a season.
The who? The Phillipses.
The Phillipses, excuse me.
Yeah, read the back of the shirt.
Yes, I know. Anyway, that's a story for another show.
That's a whole nother long story.
That's a whole nother show.
So it probably involves adult beverages. So.
Yes,
right.
Absolutely. But you know what Tiffany shares in that story is, of course, something tragic. My mother-in-law passed away, fell ill, and now we're taking care of my stepfather-in-law. But the old saying, out of every tragedy comes something positive, right? It's never one or the other. It's never a brick wall. Eileen and I got a 2-for-1 positive out of that. Is not only did we get Tiffany, but we got Craig, and so that's huge negative with the loss of my mother-in-law. But the positive being is that our relationship with both Tiffany and Craig have surpassed the business side of our initial meeting at the chamber to now it's like, we'll literally walk through fire because her husband, Craig, keeps our fireplace burning for us. He supplies us our wood.
Yes, he does. And he's actually in their daughter's crawl space right now, putting in
he's putting the exhaust in now?
He's putting an exhaust fan in.
Hi, everybody up there in the crawl space. Yeah, so we've got him coming and going.
Yeah.
And Douglas is he's flying in to San Jose from.
I see that.
Yes.
He's listening to us on the plane.
I love it.
Hello.
That's
from
so
30,000
cool.
feet. All right. Well, hopefully the pilot's keeping his hands on the steering wheel. So,
Yeah. Or if he's on autopilot, he's watching us.
There you go. Hello, pilot. Hello, Chuggy. Hello, Andy. Everybody that's in the chat room.
Yeah.
But seriously, again, to not to minimize, but out of every bad does come a good. And unfortunately, we experienced the ultimate bad, but we got the ultimate good out of it because Eileen and we are their biggest cheerleaders, plain and simple, and not just because we're friends, but because, I've provided testimonials as a client because of the work that they are still doing with my stepfather-in-law and whatnot. So, I'm going to step back a little bit. I want her to talk. It's about her. But the reality is that out of bad comes something good. Something great came out of this friendship, but more importantly, a Kiwanian. And she won't hold it against me where they first joined. We fixed that, but that's a whole nother story.
Yes,
But
yes, absolutely. We're quite pleased with the
second arrival.
second arrival where we're at now. It's, we walked in, got out of our cars. I mean, it was 6:50 in the morning, and everybody's like, "Hey, welcome!" And
Who are you?
Right? Who are you? Where'd you come from? And I'm like, "Wow, this is definitely different from the experience from the other club." So we look forward to getting up and going to the meetings every other week, and looking forward to being more involved in things. So definitely. A lot has come out of this, and the growth has been amazing.
There's so many light bulbs going off in my head right now and talking with you that we're going to talk about your business, most definitely. But
Okay.
One of the main things that I'm actively involved in around the world is recruiting new members and getting them actively involved. And you've hit almost every box that I try to teach people when we're out there. It's if you don't ask, you don't get.
Right.
And you need to help people find the good fit to where they belong. There are a ton of different Kiwanis clubs. Each one has their own culture and style. And if the first one doesn't fit, don't quit. Go to a new community or create your own. And it's really, really clear. People, they make assumptions. And I think Kiwanis people are our own worst enemies sometimes because we make assumptions and we already build in the no as to why someone wouldn't want to join or why they wouldn't want to stay. And clearly, Aaron doesn't have that button in him at all.
Even when I try to find it, he doesn't have that button.
I'm buttonless.
And and I think, Val, what saddens my husband and I the most is the club that we originally started at. I mean, we gave back. We did an event. We were kind of voluntold. We were like, "Hey, here's bits and pieces of things that you need to do," and we had to figure it out. Mm-hmm. And when we finished that event, everybody that came off of that event said nobody was as hands-on in the 20 plus years that this event has happened than you and your husband were.
Wow.
I mean, we were deep in the ditches, taking fish off, unhooking lines. And I mean, we had a great time. And even the captain said, he was like, "Y'all are coming back next year, right?" And I was like, "Well, we'll see." And then the next meeting, things hit the fan. And I'm like, "Yep, I'm not going to be talked to and disrespected." And we walked away. Like, here's my dues. And we walked away. But I know at the end of the day, at that club, we gave back and we did something that made a difference in 45 people's lives that day. And I consider that a deed done.
That is magical. 45 people were impacted by your working with them. That's absolutely huge.
Yep, one event.
I love it. And those lessons, because we're in the process of getting ready to open 4 clubs in Southern California, and each community is very, very different. But I think that the lessons learned are in the businesses that we're going into. We need to be very clear and honest about who we are, and that people need to be valued with the skills that they bring in. Like you, I am hearing the backstory, but I know that there's some people from that club that watch, so we're not going to beat up on them too much.
Nope, absolutely not.
They're doing some review of what they do, but it's like, I don't know how old you are. I just turned 60, so I just joined the old club.
I just turned 51 last Friday, so I'm getting there.
Val, my wife is in the studio. I'm going to remind her. Val just said she's old at hitting 60, Eileen.
My husband's 61, Val, so you're not old at all, okay? So
thank you.
You are part of the new 40s. That's the way I look at it. Yeah, you're the new 40s. So reflect on your 40s and embrace those in your 60s.
My wife's older than me. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, my God.
By weeks.
2 months, 12 hours.
That's right.
Exactly.
She doesn't forget. I don't make her forget it for those 2 months in a day.
I bet not.
But I feel like, as we're talking, it's there's something to be said that whenever you bring in a new member, wherever they're at in their careers, they bring skills to the table And so they need to be incorporated from the very beginning, and not just. I always say with Key Clubbers, we bring in Key Club alumni. They're very young, and people go, "Oh, they've got great backs and they're strong." So they're going to do the setup and cleanup, and they'll ultimately graduate to actually being on committees and doing stuff. So we'll just tell them what to do, and it's like, no, they bring in skills. If they're 20 something years old, they bring in some new energy, incorporate it into who you are. But okay, I digress because I do. It just happens. I really was fascinated by your story, and I really wanted to know, why did you start Comfort Care? Because when I watch your commercials, I'm wowed. I'm absolutely wowed by you.
So 21 years ago, or actually it'll be 22 years ago this year, my dad passed away with ALS. He passed away 15 days after I got my acceptance letter into nursing school. So I knew that I was going to make a difference. I was a service advisor before I became a nurse. So I went from fixing cars to helping people. I did home care for 10 years out of my career, and going into people's homes every day and seeing what quality of care was sent into their home that they weren't getting. I knew that I needed something different. I knew what my worth was in the field, not knew what it was, what it is in the field of being able to. I was a wound and ostomy nurse. So I would go in and I'd go into some of the worst wounds ever and be able to help heal them and communicate with doctors and family members. But then some organizations would send in caregivers that would sit in the living room on their phones, and I'd go in and my client was soiled and, they have a huge sacral wound, and I'm like, why? And they're like, oh, well, I haven't had the chance to turn them or reposition them. Well, if you got off your phone long enough, you'd be able to take care of that. So I was like, the opportunity fell into my lap, literally. I walked into Cycle Bar in Virginia Beach, and the gentleman there, his name is Chris, him and his wife, Chris and Casey Bushy. Chris looked at me and he goes, they called me T-Bomb. He's like, T-Bomb, you look exhausted. And
I can only imagine why.
Well, when you're in a sweaty, hot room and the F-bombs drop here and there, and they're like, we're going to change your name from Hot LPN to T-Bomb because we never know when the F-bombs are coming. I took that with everything. So he's like, T-Bomb, you look exhausted. And I said, Bushy, I'm tired of punching somebody else's time clock. 3 days later, I get a text message from him, and he's like, I have an opportunity. You got a few minutes to talk about it. And the franchise opportunity came available. We talked about it. I interviewed a couple of different companies. I fell in love with the business model of Comfort Care. And that was in November. I signed my contract December 5th. They were like, oh, it's going to take 6 to 8 months for you to open. I was like, y'all don't know me. The grass doesn't grow under my feet. I submitted my application to the state in February, and April 22nd, 5 days before my dad's birthday, I received my license to open. My goal was to have my doors open by my dad's birthday, which is April 26th, and I opened April 22nd. I wanted to have my first client by May 31st because that was the date of his death, and I had my first client May 28th, and I haven't stopped. I have 47 amazing women that work for me that have morals and values, and they love what they do, and they push my morals and values every day, because if you're not giving quality of care and you're not engaging with my clients, I don't need you. You're out of there. Exactly. And I've gone through applicants and caregivers, and I honestly will say the ones that I have for me, we're billing 2,000 hours every 2 weeks.
That's a lot of time.
2,000 hours. So if you think we're talking 4 and 8 hour shifts, and I have 31 clients that we're providing care for in the Tidewater area. And I have girls that work 200 hours every 2 weeks for me and have other jobs and have families and kids at home, but they show up for me because I take care of them. I show them that they're worthy. I show them that I appreciate them. And the more I show that I appreciate them, the more they go out there and they provide exemplary care for my clients. I've got a 10-year franchise agreement, and I plan on doing it for 20.
I love it.
And I've been open 10 months. Wow. 10 months.
The amount of success that, now a lot of it is, of course, the quality of care that Tiffany and her team bring, but unfortunately it's also a microcosm of the community that we're in as well. You have a lot of retirees, you have a lot of elder community. So the good news is when you have the pairings of a market that needs a product and you have the right person to bring the product, a business can be successful. All right, we're going to step aside for our first break of the show. We're running a few minutes behind, but
sorry,
that's okay. We're among friends. I don't really care. John can just pull the plug whenever he wants to. He's in charge. Anyway, you're watching Kiwanis Connects, more with Tiffany and Val and the rest of us, and a lot more to do right after this.
2 out of 3 kids in America can't read at grade level, and without help, many will never catch up. In a world of screens, short attention spans, and endless distractions, getting kids excited about reading has never been harder. That's where Kiwanis Club steps in. Through Inchi's bookworm vending machines, kids earn tokens for positive behaviors, achievements, kindness, and more, and use them to pick a book they just can't wait to read. Every book is a child's to keep. Every book builds a personal at-home library, and every page sparks curiosity, confidence, and lifelong learning. Your club can make it happen. Let's put more books and more smiles into the hands of kids who need them most. Together, we can change the story, one book at a time. To learn more, go to bookvending.com/Kiwanis.
Does your house need a new paint job, a bathroom remodel, or a new fence around the yard? With 40 years of experience, Different Strokes Painting and Handyman Service handles all type of work inside and out and from floor to ceiling. Different Strokes offers great value and great quality. Call Craig today and schedule your free estimate by dialing 757-395-9999. That's 757-395-9999. Above the rest, they show up and show out by making your vision come to life.
Sometimes I'd like to smack old age right in the kisser. Ow!
I always get the best parking spot.
I think she needs a little more help.
Monday?
What I really need is a boyfriend that can drive at night.
I can make a fashion statement out of anything.
I will be fabulous.
I have a little crush on my pharmacist.
With ComfortCare at your side, you can live your best life possible. We know families can't be there 24/7, which is why we can help with as much or as little home care as you need. From medication reminders and meal prep to everyday chores and errands, so you can live in your own home on your terms.
I wouldn't let aging stop me from being me.
Call ComfortCare now and let us create your personalized care plan and find the perfect caregiver match.
Can you show that number again? She was texting.
Together with ComfortCare, you can both live your best life possible.
Peace, love, and little donuts originated in Pittsburgh 15 years ago. Now you can enjoy these little cake donuts right here in Virginia Beach, located at 2105 Princess Anne Road. We have over 60 different toppings to choose from in quantities of 2, 6, 12, and 36. We can take care of any catering needs, such as weddings, business meetings, or Super Bowl party. Call us at 757-301-3564 and let us know what donuts will make your event even groovier. All right, everybody, welcome back to Kiwanis Connects. Before we get back with Tiffany, I want to share one more little live story here. Budget Blinds, locally here in the Virginia Beach area, is having their annual 2026 Community Impact Challenge. Submissions are now open between now and August 31st. Winners will be announced in September. This one's for volunteer heroes, the givers, helpers, organizers, mentors, change makers, etc. Volunteers, there'll be 3 $1,000 rewards given out. Eligible regions, the Peninsula, South Side, North Carolina. If there is somebody that you want to nominate, stories should be in video, essay, or PowerPoint format. Send to Christy C. DeCarmo, DeCarmo, at budgetblinds.com. So if you're in the local area and you want to nominate somebody to receive an award for all the work that they do, now's your chance. Welcome back to Kiwanis Connects. Want to thank many of our sponsors. We want to thank ComfortCare. We want to thank Different Strokes Painting and Handyman Services. And we want to thank bookvending.com. We want to thank the medication for kicking in soon. We want to thank Mental Health Moment as well. So thank everybody for watching. Val, take it away.
Oh my goodness. I was watching the commercial on our newest sponsor with the donuts. And I'm like, how do we get those out here?
Well, let me tell you, they are about this big. They're bite size. They're literally,
they're minis.
They're minis. Yeah. And they are, you go in and you pick out what flavor you want, and they make them for you right there. They're amazing.
So I have to be honest with you, Doc Val. They are my guests tomorrow on The Voice of 757 from 12:30 to 1 p.m. on Cox Cable Channel 4. And after that, go to the Facebook page. You'll see the show. Anyway, so I just figured a little cross promotion for that show tomorrow. You wouldn't mind if I throw in her spot today. I'm going to run it tomorrow on Aaron's Hour with my show. So it's just a little, I'm piling on a little bit to help her locally. So that's why I kind of snuck it in there. Besides, it's good donuts. When you come out this way, we'll get you some.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You know, it's easy to get distracted when you have stuff like that going on.
Absolutely.
And so, Tiffany, one of the things I wanted to loop back with you on is, well, there's a couple things, but one of the pieces, there's always been a fear in with my family. I have a grandmother that never ever considered the thought of having someone come into her home, and I did a lot of research a little over a year ago trying to figure out how to help her live with her goal, which was at 95 she wanted to live in her own home as long as possible. And so, hi Jen out in Jen. And so there were just not enough trustworthy people. And in your commercial, you talk a lot about meaningful engagement. And
Absolutely.
And so I'm now trying to work on my mom. Yes. So hear a little bit about this whole meaningful engagement, because those folks on the commercial, that's what I want my mom's life to be like.
So meaningful engagement is, especially with dementia and Alzheimer's, a lot of times it's the short-term memory that they lose, and they forget to eat. They forget to put their shoes on. They forget to take the trash out. Meaningful engagement is engaging with them in the things that are meaningful to them. So if that is cooking, or if that is planting flowers in the garden, if that is going to the grocery store, going to get their hair done, hanging out with their friends on Sundays to have breakfast or lunch, puzzles. Meaningful engagement is engaging with that client when you're there for the length of time that you're there. Reminding them, going through photo albums, going through picture books, going through reading with them, genealogy, things like that they love to do to be able to remember those things. Not downplaying. So my saying has always been adult once, baby twice. So if we think about the circle of life, we start out as babies, and that's kind of how we end up. You can't argue with a 95-year-old toddler.
No, you can't.
No. So if that toddler says, I want to go to the store, then you get them dressed safely, you put them in the car, and you take them to the store. You allow them to make choices. You give them 1 or 2 options for choices, not 4 or 5. It's about engaging them in the things that they want. If they say, I want to go home, and they're in their home, you don't look at them and say, but you're already here. You put them in the car, you drive them around the block, and then you pull in the driveway and say, okay, we're home now. To engage them in those things. If they say, I want to go to the park because that's where I'm used to being, or I like to go for walks at a certain place, you take them to that place at the place where you take them for a walk. The meaningful engagements are important because you want to dignify them, because they lose so much dignity as adults. You want to keep them at home and give them as much meaningfulness at home than pulling them out of their environment. You pull them out of their environment and the disease process progresses more rapidly. They become angry, they become secluded, they become depressed. And when they get to those stages and states, it's hard to get them out of that.
Get ornery.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that as you're talking, it's just like I realized a lot of Kiwanians, we're in that sandwich generation. And so we are busy taking care of our parents. We're busy taking care of our kids or filling in the blanks for our kids with their, with our grandkids. And I think that you get into compassion exhaustion. And so you have this guilty little secret, which is called Kiwanis. That's my me time. But then you start to feel guilty because people start to say, oh, it's Kiwanis. And it's like you don't spend time with me because of Kiwanis. And I think that your business and what you all do provides that dignity back so that those of us can have just a natural relationship with our parents.
So, Dr. Val, it's funny that you say that because that what you're describing is called caregiver burnout. We as children, grown adults, have our own lives. And at some point, especially with our generation, our parents are like, oh, we're not going to bother you because we don't want to be a burden. And the more they don't call on us to take care of them, the more we go on about our lives because we think mom and dad or brother or sister and everybody are okay when they're not. And then your mom's generation of allowing somebody to come in and take care of them is, I can do it on my own. I don't need anybody to take care of me. So our goal as Comfort Care owners and the people that we employ is I do all of my couch visits with my families. Every single family gets me first. And then I provide my caregiver, the quality caregiver that I think is going to be best for that situation. I don't just throw somebody in there to be a warm body to take care of your loved one. And if I can't get a warm body in there, then y'all get me. Because I'm a nurse, I've sat many cases, sat many a shift. And I think that's where organizations that are independently owned and operated like we are different than corporate. Because I run my office my way of what I want my girls to do, even following the regulations of the state of Virginia and whatever state you're in. Each one of our offices are independently owned and operated. So your Vegas or California locations may run them differently than I do. I know what my standards are, but I also know what Comfort Care standards are. And if we provide by Comfort Care standards every single day, then we're going to get that care from your family's going to get that same quality of care.
And I love that. And, and while I mentioned my mom and my grandmother, neither one of them is at that point where they consider themselves old and so my grandmother just moved into independent living. And but the thing is, our last sets of interactions before she made some choices were me just going through the business pieces. And I stopped being a granddaughter in this process. And so I wish I had known about you prior to that, because I think that it would have changed how that relationship, so now we're working on being able to move back into being a family member versus that caregiver part of the process. And I think that that's one of the things that if Kiwanis clubs, when you're out there and you're doing programs, it's inviting someone in and it's to do a presentation from one of these independently owned Comfort Care groups about how we personally can use some of these benefits. It's not always about what we do for the community. Sometimes as caregivers and service leaders, we need a little bit of comfort. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right.
Well, no, absolutely.
The old saying, community starts at home, right? I mean, that's the original community that we're all part of. And so the Kiwanis is extended community of that. So you're right, Val. I mean, community begins at home. It begins with your significant other, your kids, your whatever. And you've got to make sure that that's in part, and whether that's through Kiwanis or needing help of a Comfort Care with the Tiffany's organization, us guys, the hardest thing that we always are told that we ask for is help. And community starts at home, and we've got to make sure that the community is organized first at home before we can go out and help others in the community.
Absolutely.
We provide a lot of giving back to allow husbands and wives to go out and do something because they have a demented loved one at home that they're caring for, and one works and the other one has to stay home. And, even if it's us, I have a client that my caregiver goes in once a week for 4 hours a day, and the husband and wife go to dinner. They have 4 hours of their time together.
Respite care, right? Is that what they
It's
call it?
yeah,
Respite
care.
care?
Because if not, the wife works and the husband stays home and takes care of the mother-in-law, and it's stressful.
Mm-hmm.
And I see it all the time. And then that's where a lot of unforeseen neglect comes in to our older population, because they don't know the services that are out there, or they're too intimidated or too proud. Let's say not intimidated, too proud to ask for that help. I've come across more situations and they're like, where have you been?
Mm-hmm.
I've worked for an organization and now I work for myself. So let me provide those. And that's kind of what I look forward to as a Kiwanian, to be able to help the younger population that need help and assistance. They always ask me, why didn't you ever do pediatrics or kids? Well, I can tell, I'm not going to look at a parent and tell them to stay in their swim lane. Let me take care of their child. But I can look at a child and tell them to stay in their swim lane and let me take care of your parent, which is a huge difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What if I just wanted to be taken care of at home? Would you just come and take care of people for no reason?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I've done it. Yeah, I do,
Well, part of it is you get burned out. I look at some of the folks that are out there and getting younger and younger, where they're just like, they work 75, 80 hours a week. They're trying to make all the pieces work. They can't figure out when to eat, when to sleep, because they're in constant cycle. And so I would guess that some of the people that you're providing comfort care for are younger and younger, not just octogenarians and folks that are reaching closer to 100.
So we're hitting one little spot. John actually just asked this, and I think we're going to put it up on the crawl. What's the phone number to call you at the office?
757-734-0426.
Say it again, because John is very slow.
757-734-0426.
And the website.
And you can also go to comforcare, comforcare.com. You don't necessarily have to put in Virginia Beach. So if you're in another area, you can go to comfortcare.com and it will ask you, are you looking for services? And it says, you put in your zip code and all of the Comfort Care offices pull up, and you just look and see which one's closest to you. And then you call that office and you can tell them, I saw Tiffany Wynn from the Virginia Beach Comfort Care location, and she spoke highly of the services that you guys provide. And I want to know what your office can do for me or my family.
It's a great referral source, because a lot of times when you're in those positions, you don't know where to turn. Like she shared the story at the beginning when we got the call that Eileen's mom was sick. I'm in one spot. Neither of us were home. I'm in one spot. She's in another spot. And if it wasn't for meeting her at the chamber, I wouldn't have known who to call. So if nothing else, Comfort Care in general is a great resource to have. And if they can help, they will direct you accordingly. But what I have seen this come full circle around, to bring it back around Kiwanis, is she may not realize that she's doing it, because we all do this within the industry that we are most comfortable in. But I see how she's interacting with our other fellow Kiwanians, because some of our clubs, they're not all 20-year-olds, if you know what I mean. Winkety, 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 wink. And so, it's a matter of being able to be that chameleon in not only what she does as a living, but to be within Kiwanis, like you talked about earlier, Val. When you come join a meeting for the first time, you don't know what you're walking into. You don't know about the people that you're going to interact with. And when you're walking in, you're doing an assessment. And not unlike other aspects of our life, the beauty of Kiwanis is we offer so many different activities within a particular club. Every club is different, just like every Comfort Care is different, that you can assess where your best strengths are within a Kiwanis club and meet everybody, but then decide where your strengths are. And that's where the parallel between what she does and what we do as Kiwanians, which is why her and Craig both together. You talk about a guy who's got skill set. Her husband, Craig, handyman extraordinaire, right? But let me tell you something. If she's in a pinch, Guess who's going to go to a male patient house needed? Craig, who is certified. Let me just clarify that. So you got a guy who can paint the house and, do what he does, and then in a pinch, do what he needs to do. So you talk about some flexibility there. All right. We are at almost 20 up. I'm going to stop for break number 2 so we can go right to the top. We still have some things to do on the backside. Finish up with Tiff. We also have mental health moment from Melissa Atwell, Val's well moments, and of course, bad dad jokes, which up until now, I never shared the theme, but I'm going to now so I can get beaten up during the break time. Nursing themed bad dad jokes, and we got them ready for you. Don't go anywhere. Kiwanis Connects will be back right after this.
Sometimes I'd like to smack old age right in the kisser. Ow!
I always get the best parking spot.
I think she needs a little more help.
Monday.
What I really need is a boyfriend that can drive at night.
I can make a fashion statement out of anything.
I will be fabulous.
I have a little crush on my pharmacist.
With Comfort Care at your side, you can live your best life possible. We know families can't be there 24/7, which is why we can help with as much or as little home care as you need. From medication reminders and meal prep to everyday chores and errands, so you can live in your own home on your terms.
I wouldn't let aging stop me from being me.
Call Comfort Care now and let us create your personalized care plan and find the perfect caregiver match.
Can you show that number again? She was texting.
Together with Comfort Care, you can both live your best life possible.
Does your house need a new paint job, a bathroom remodel, or a new fence around the yard? With 40 years of experience, Different Strokes Painting and Handyman Service handles all type of work inside and out and from floor to ceiling. Different Strokes offers great value and great quality. Call Craig today and schedule your free estimate by dialing 757-395-9999. That's 757-395-9999. Above the rest, they show up and show out by making your vision come to life.
Peace, love, and little donuts originated in Pittsburgh 15 years ago. Now you can enjoy these little cake donuts right here in Virginia Beach, located at 2105 Princess Anne Road. We have over 60 different toppings to choose from in quantities of 2, 6, 12, and 36. We can take care of any catering needs, such as weddings, business meetings, or Super Bowl party. Call us at 757-301-3564 and let us know what donuts will make your event even groovier.
2 out of 3 kids in America can't read at grade level. And without help, many will never catch up. In a world of screens, short attention spans, and endless distractions, getting kids excited about reading has never been harder. That's where Kiwanis Club steps in. Through Inchy's bookworm vending machines, kids earn tokens for positive behaviors, achievements, kindness, and more, and use them to pick a book they just can't wait to read. Every book is a child's to keep. Every book builds a personal at-home library, and every page sparks curiosity, confidence, and lifelong learning. Your club can make it happen. Let's put more books and more smiles into the hands of kids who need them most. Together, we can change the story, one book at a time. To learn more, go to bookvending.com/Kiwanis.
Hey, welcome back to Kiwanis Connects. Aaron Phillips here in Virginia. I almost said Las Vegas. Why do I keep saying? I know. You caught me, didn't you? Virginia Beach. Dog Val's out in California. She's actually not parked by the side of the road to connect with us. She's actually at home. And, of course, to my left, dear friend and owner of Comfort Care Home Care here in Virginia Beach, but a great ambassador for Comfort Care really across the country, wherever you need it. Miss Tiffany Wynn joins us. So before we get down to some of the other stuff, having chatted with Tiffany a lot, and of course being as involved because of my father-in-law, I know there's something very critical in some of the things you talk to potential clients, and that's about fundability and affordability for coverage. But there's a program that I know can be available for people because we went through it, and that's called the GUIDE program. Can you talk about that for a couple of seconds so people have that information?
So Medicare A and B, if you have no other supplemental insurance, they have a program. It's a respite program through it's a B benefit through Medicare. A lot of our offices, I don't know everybody who does have or is a participant of the GUIDE program, but I know our office is. So it's a simple 30-second, literally takes me 30 seconds to gather name, date of birth, and Medicare number. I put it into my system. It comes up and tells me if a client is eligible. To be eligible for the guide program, you have to have a diagnosis of dementia or Alzheimer's or some kind of cognitive deficit.
Mm-hmm.
So once I find out if they qualify for guide, then I go out and do a couch visit with the caregiver and the client. I do a neurological assessment. I give my laptop to the caregiver and let them do their respite assessment, kind of how the burdens are for taking care of that family member. Once I get that back, it goes to the Center for Medicare Services. They come back and say, congratulations, you qualify for this respite program. The guide program follows from July 1st to July 1st of every year. They reimburse 18 4-hour shifts. It's not a lot, but it's something. Right. And it is huge. It is something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fortunate enough and have been that when I talk to my clients, I extend to my clients the fee that Medicare reimburses me as my base rate for care. So once those 18 shifts are completed, then a lot of my clients say, okay, well, we loved what you guys did for us and we want to continue services with you. It's one way for us to get into the door with these clients, to give them some care, to give them dignity and allow them to age gracefully at home. So I don't know which offices are participants, but I know we are working on getting a lot of, if not all of our offices, our franchise owners qualified for these programs to be able to extend that to loved ones. I currently have 19 guide clients that we currently take care of. And again, it's about that meaningful engagement. It's about those caregiver toolkits that we send in to be able to do things and activities with clients if they've got the dementia and Alzheimer's diagnosis. If they don't have the diagnosis, then the assessment that we do, Center for Medicare Services, allows that diagnosis to be given by them. A lot of times you can't get into a neurologist for 7 to 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
You got 7 to 8 months to wait for a diagnosis. So when we do the program and do our assessment and Medicare gives that dementia diagnosis, then that helps the neurologist move on to what they need to do. Kind of alleviates one of those appointments.
Getting that kind of diagnosis is really scary for a lot of individuals, and they will avoid it for a very long time. But I think knowing that it's not a death sentence, it's just a way of understanding what phase of life you're in.
Right.
I think it's something that we need to work on. I know, like Melissa Atwell does our mental health moment, and she talks about those kind of things where your mental health is just a part of who you are. It's one of those different pieces. It doesn't say that you're less than a human being or anything like that. But in a number of communities, I think it's cultural based sometimes. They don't want to be called Michigana. I can tell you over and over again how many times my mom has said, I am not Michigana. I am not lost. I am not crazy. And that's how people see dementia, as being crazy. And it's like, it's not, it is a stage that the brain goes through. And Aaron's laughing at me.
No, because you said that actually very well, by the way. Michigana is a Yiddish word meaning crazy. However, in some vernaculars, it also means somebody from Michigan. No?
Bob Larson.
Right. Bob Larson. All right, there you go. There's a perfect case for someone who's Michigana from Michigan.
From Michigan.
Exactly right. Exactly. Bob Larson, we love you, buddy. Absolutely. All right, watching the clock in order to keep an eye on it, I'm going to give Tiff a chance to catch her breath just for a moment or two, because you know what we're going to do, Val? It is time now for us to switch gears on John, as I'm vamping long enough for him to get a segment intro ready to go. It is now time for Val's Wow Moments. All right, take it away.
Woo-hoo. Well, the first one I want to really talk about, I've got two, and it excites me because we have companies out there that they're not willing to do long-term sponsorships and different kind of things, but they're willing to work with our organizations to do fundraisers. And so one of them is Little Caesar. And I'm not sure if you guys have Little Caesars where you guys are.
We do.
We do. We eat from them all the time.
I
The best
love
$5 pizza ever.
Pizza.
pizza. So if you get a chance, Little Caesars actually does programs for a whole month. And so you go in and you actually buy a coupon. And so there are set meal coupons. You download those codes and it's good for a year. And the organization that you're buying that coupon for in their name actually gets 30% of that sale. And they get it right away, even though you don't redeem it until later. And so the Greater Turlock Kiwanis Club did this for the month of February to raise money for their Circle K so that the Circle K could go to the international and do a major service project. So Circle K is our college level students. And so this one's still going on. So if you stop and take a picture of that QR code and order some pizzas, you're helping out this Circle K all the way in California. And you can do that anywhere. You can use this coupon anywhere in where there is a Little Caesar. I stumble over my words because I get so excited. We actually had Little Caesar 2 nights ago, and I ordered 3 coupons, and I was actually going to use one of them to send as a gift to a friend so that they didn't have to do dinner. And so this was like perfect.
So we can use this here in Virginia Beach.
You can use that in Virginia Beach.
Would you kindly email that to me if you don't mind?
I will, and I'll post it on.
Right, pass it on because we're doing work around the house this weekend, and Little Caesars now delivers to us, and that's actually my husband prefers Little Caesars over anybody.
We used to call Little Caesars in college.
That's what Craig calls it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Will they deliver still in 30 minutes from California? That's what I want to know. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, send me the digital flyer so we have it, and then I'll put it up on my local stuff. Absolutely.
And I'll put it on my Facebook.
Very cool. And then the other wow for me, and John will put it up real quick, is there are so many new programs that are out there that they look like they used to, what we used to do, but people are now doing programs on Sundays. Sundays used to be the protected family day. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we're discovering now that people are getting together is that Sundays are the opportune time to do service projects, because a lot of families from noon on a Sunday really don't know what to do with themselves. And so it's a perfect day to just go do something fun. And so Sunday in the Park just showed up on one of my things. And so you might want to borrow that idea where kids get to draw and have coupon, gifts and some fun stuff. So that was my other wow.
Wasn't there a song called Sunday in the Park? No, that was Saturday in the Park by Chicago. Sorry, I was off a day.
I'm dancing.
Obviously not done by a Jewish guy, because he wouldn't be writing about singing in the park on a Saturday. Just thought I'd share that.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, that's good stuff. What else do we have any Val on the road today by chance?
I do. Oh my God.
Let's hear the horn, John. Rev that engine. Let's go.
He's probably going, I didn't have that one queued up. My truck really looks like the first one right now, and part of that is because in California, Nevada, Hawaii district, we actually have 2 mid-years, and so our second mid-year starts this afternoon in San Jose. So do you know the way to San Jose? Yeah, and I shouldn't do that.
Wait, Dionne Warwick sings that, right?
Yeah, she does, and I shouldn't.
Can we let her sing it?
I was just going to say, let's leave it to her, please. Okay, for all of us.
Absolutely. And so there are a number of mid-years that are kicking off at this point in time. So New York has theirs. And so if you want to know more about Kiwanis and aren't one, you can actually register on site and see what's going on in this wonderful Kiwanis world. And so I think yours in Capital District is coming up in the future.
Couple of weeks.
In a couple of weeks, and Ohio and Pennsylvania in March.
Okay, you're the second.
And congratulations, Florida, to one of the most successful mid-years I have ever seen. It looked like there was a large group of Key Clubbers and Circle K members. There are 500 of them, in addition to over 500 Kiwanians at a mid-year conference. That's absolutely huge. It's a great way to get together and have some fellowship. So on to you, Aaron, because I could talk forever about being on the road.
No worries, man. We got 7 minutes. John will pull the plug on us no matter whether we're done speaking or not. So it's okay. Thank you, Chuggy. Chuggy said she took a screenshot of the pizza, and she's going to share it with friends. So Chuggy, I know we'll get that out there. Just a quick reminder before we go on, budget blinds. Yeah, John, if you could pull that email link down real quickly and maybe put it up, that's fine. If not, let's do that for tomorrow, please. Just a quick reminder, Budget Blinds 2026 Community Impact Challenge. They are looking for first responders, volunteer helpers, organizers, mentors, whatever. If you'd like to nominate somebody, they're giving away 3 $1,000 cash prizes. Send your submissions via video, essay, or PowerPoint to C, as in the letter C, DECARMO, C DeCarmo at budgetblinds.com. All right, before we get started, I just want to wrap up. I want to take what Tiffany's been talking about for the last 45 minutes or so. You can go on to their website, which she shared previously, and under the About Us tab, there's her bio, but there's a quote on there that really kind of wraps everything up for those that are in this position. She says, quote, and you did say this, so I'm not misquoting you,
No,
just so you know.
I did.
I just want to make sure that our sources are fine.
Yeah.
Quote, I understand that choosing care for a loved one is a deeply personal decision. I ask only for the chance to show you what we're about, because on paper, anyone can look good, but real care is felt through action. Let us be the support your family needs. So it takes, and as a Kiwanian, it's a double-edged sword, because not only does she give to her client, but she and her husband, Craig, love to give back to the community. All right, before we get started to wrap up with bad dad jokes, as always, I turn to our guests and I ask them to participate. She took your notebook, by the way.
That's okay. I'm using them.
Oh, she's using one of the. So today's theme is nursing, because in honor of Tiffany. So because I was yelled at for not telling her to come prepared with a joke.
So I'm stealing one of his.
So she's going to steal one of mine off of my list. So here you go. Pick one that you want. John, let's hit the intro. Hit it. Now, put a quarter in the slot. Well, if you do it, they'll get mad at you. I do have one joke on the list that is a after show goes off the air. So I will not do that on the air, but I'll share.
And then he says, I can't say it either. So, my nurses out there would appreciate it. So why did the ICU nurse, why did the ICU nurse always excel in a yoga class?
Hit it.
They know how to keep patients in stable positions.
Okay, see, it's not just me that gets the frowny faces from Val. I'm happy about that.
Okay.
All right, here you go.
I think the nurses are probably rolling on the floor right now.
That's right.
Right.
All right, here you go. You ready? What do you call a nurse who's relaxed and smiling besides on drugs? No, what do you call a nurse who's relaxed on smiling? Off duty. Okay, they're happy. They're off duty, so that's right. What do you call a baby cat who works with nurses? A first aid kit. Come on, Val, you like that one. That's going to get you.
That'll work.
That's going to get you in about 2 hours from now when you're sitting and having dinner. It's going to just
it just hit me. That'll work.
It's what we call the afterburn. Hey, this one I'm about to share with you is actually Tiffany's favorite on this list because she eyeballed it during the show. What do you call an ER nurse with a great sense of humor?
Retired?
A lifesaver. All right, there you go. She liked that one. When is the worst time to have a heart attack? Not that there's a good time to have a heart attack, but there's worser time than others. When would those worst times be to have a heart attack? During a game of charades with a nurse. That's not a good time to have it. I know these are whack and wild. A couple of more. How many nurses does it take to screw in a light bulb?
One.
None. They just have a nursing student do it.
Very true.
Yes. Did you like this one?
Yes.
All right, there was another one that Tiffany liked. I'm going to share the disgruntlement with Tiffany.
Why do a lot of nurses go to college at the North Pole? That's where the ICU is.
Oh
What she likes.
my!
John Crawford, by the way, John Crawford says Argentina is colder than people think. In fact, it borders on Chile. All right, John, you win the prize for a non-nursing joke.
For the day.
All right.
John.
What did the nurse say to the man who fainted at the airport terminal? This is bad. Did you see this in the news? And it wasn't what's his name who played in the terminal? Tom Hanks. Wasn't him. What did the nurse say to the man who fainted at the airport terminal? I think you might have a terminal illness. That'll be an afterburn. That'll be an afterburn joke later.
Yeah.
3 more real quickly. Did you hear about the 2 podiatrists who left their practice? Listen, this was nasty too. I saw this on TMZQ. So did you hear about the 2 podiatrists who left the practice? They became arch enemies. Arch podiatry. Come on, that's a good one, Val. Come on, you can let that one out. No, all right.
Yeah.
2 more. Why does the infectious disease ward at the hospital have the fastest Wi-Fi?
They have the virus?
Because they have all the hot spots. You were on the right line of thinking. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
HIPAA.
HIPAA who?
I can't tell you that. And that does it for this week's edition of Nurses Theme Bad Dad Jokes. See, she liked that one. She liked HIPAA. Leave it to HIPAA. There's the one that gets Val. There's one joke every week that I have to make sure Val falls off the chair on, then I know I've succeeded. This week it took to the very last one.
I love it.
There were a few cutesies in there, but
There
the HIPAA
were.
one was good. All right, that does it.
Our governor out here in California loves hippos. And so
true.
every time that we talk about someone's hippo, and I have to send a message out. Judy, if you're watching, Fiona is on her way to San Jose. Fiona has been kidnapped, hippo-napped.
Hip-napped.
And the kidnappers have a ransom note that they want Judy to have. So just to let you know, Kiwanians know how to have fun.
Okay. Thank you guys for having me.
So
It's been
sorry.
a
Thank you,
pleasure.
Tiffany. Tiffany Wynn from Comfort Care Home Care here in Virginia Beach. Look her up. Her stuff's all over my pages. Trust me when I tell you, you will not be disappointed with the family care that you get from Comfort Care. All right, Doc Val, final thoughts, my friend.
I think that we all need to have a little bit of care in our lives and take care of ourselves and take care of what happens at home so that we can be better givers of service out in the world. And so, Tiffany, I'm so grateful that you came on the show today and that you have been a great supporter of our show. We can't do our magic without people like you in our world. So thank you.
Thank you.
I hope everybody has a phenomenal week. And back to you.
Phenomenal. Is that with a PH or an F? Anyway, all right, couple of quick programming notes. Tomorrow, Aaron's Hour from 11 a.m. to 12, we'll be celebrating Black History Month. I have Coach Chuck Hatcher. And those of you who remember the 1968 Mexico Olympics I think it was in October in Mexico, I will have Bob Beeman and I will have John Carlos, both on the 68 team, talking about their Olympic experience. Yes, there were some things that went on. We will delicately touch on those, but primarily to focus on celebrating Black History Month. And then 12:30 to 1 for your local audience here. Cox Cable Channel 4, Sky 4 TV, the voice of 757. My guest this week's show, Cricket Hendricks. She is the owner of Peace, Love, and Little Donuts. Okay, now, if you missed that show on TV, do not fret, my friends, because a couple of days later, just go to the Facebook page of the same name, the voice of 757, and I upload those shows so that you can continue to find all of your favorite episodes. All right, that does it for this week of Kiwanis Connects. I'm Aaron Phillips for my dearest friend, Doc Val, out there in California. Yeah, and even that guy, John in Las Vegas. Tiffany here is our guest, and my wife, Eileen, who told me I better behave while she's here in the office. That does it for this week's episode. See you next time. Hang on.